Welcome back to what Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an AMX 1357. It's a tier 7 French light tank. It's located on the south spawn of Kharkov and it's under the command of BassmanFromHell, and alongside him is Royal Flying Corps in the E25. Now both of these tanks are described as OP in some way or other. I always call my 1357 the murder kitten. Well, the E25 is pretty good as well. Game started. Well, they're not going to stick together. Royal Flying Corps is a tank destroyer, so he's going to stay in the field. But Bassman, well, he's an all-rounder. He plays Arty, he plays heavy tanks, tank destroyers, you name it. So he's going to be unconventional. He's going to do his own thing. And this should be quite interesting. Well, he's got a 7-shot auto-loader on an oscillating turret. It takes a second to load each shell after he fires it, and I think it takes around about 27 seconds to reload the entire mag. We'll check that as soon as he actually does have to reload. He's taking up an ambush position. Normally this tank is a bit of a scout stroke ambush killer, and the reason is it can pump those shells in whilst it's turning around the target, its victim, rapidly, and just punch them full of holes. Now the 57mm gun wasn't actually mounted on this particular tank. This is a construction from Wargaming, another of their tanks that never were, but the actual AMX 13 had a 75mm gun, but it was supposed that it would have had a 57mm or might have had a 57mm gun. But as you know, the 57mm, they do have very good penetration, and it's quite a small piece of ammo as well. The 57mm shell is very quick and easy to move about and reload a gun with. The 75mm shell is quite big by comparison, and that T29, when he's when he's outside our view range, just inside our view range, he's probably got fairly good camo, but our teammates are proxy spotting him up ahead of us. At this range, our 57mm shells are probably going to just bounce off him, which isn't really going to be very helpful, but let's see if he can get this through. He's getting, you can see the center reticule. It's sort of like going between purple and red, so it kind of indicates that he's probably not going to be able to penetrate it. He's just too far away. Shells tend to lose their velocity over distance, and so they lose their penetrative force. He's not trying to fire at it yet, but he is using the bush mechanic. Now you may be wondering, why have I actually done this replay? Well, I think you'll find out sooner or later, towards the end of the game, why we picked it. Still no shots fired? Yeah, I think that T29 is just teasing us at the moment. Nobody else has come around the corner down the other streets, but we do know there's a Centurion 5.1 and an ISM somewhere around there. If we were to fire at that T29 right now, we'd be hitting the hard armor. The top of that, the turret on that vehicle is very, very tough to get through at the front. The body of the tank is a little easier to get through, but at this angle, with that tank being angled as well, I don't think he gets through that armor at all. It'd be a waste of time for him to fire at this angle. Oh, the Lorraine's managed to get behind the T29, or at least he's managed to get close, and it looks like he's now engaging. Oh, and he's taken a big hit. He's taken a huge hit from somebody. I think he's taken a hit from some of the tank destroyers the enemy's got behind the T29, and he's gone down, taken out by their Wizzy 120 1FT, another broken tank that didn't exist, but it's actually quite a good tank in the game. Now, I do rant about vehicles that didn't exist, but it is reasonable to suppose that the Chinese would have created a tank destroyer based on the Type 59, and also that it would have had a 120mm gun. But again, I think Wargaming made the Wizzy 120 1FT so OP, they wanted to sell as many as they could, and of course people did buy it. Right, there's that Centurion 5-1. Again, that's a tank that did exist and actually does have fairly decent stats in terms of penetration. And now we've got a large number of tanks on the far east side of the battlefield, or a large number of enemy on the far east side. And it looks like the enemy have managed to capture most of the field, even though Royal Flying Corps is keeping them at bay. So it doesn't look too good for the team at the moment. They're one tank down, but that aside, they have lost at least 400 hit points more than the enemy has. People have asked me, which mods do you use for this game? Well, it's actually in the description to each video. It is Aslains, and I put some of the mods in which I do think are more useful, such as the aim timer, which actually gives you an idea when you'll be fully dialed in on target, and of course those counters at the top, which actually tell you the number of hit points on both teams. Because it can sometimes be a bit confusing if you see tanks that are... Oh, he's decided to fire at last, and he got a fire on the steer. And look at that, he's just punching it full of holes, and he's now out of ammo, but he didn't kill the steer. But the T-29 on our team, or is it their T-29? No, it was our T-29, killed him off. So he's picked up 719 hit points of damage there. Yes, I was saying that it's actually sometimes quite useful to see the number of hit points remaining on each team. And the reason for that is that it can actually be a bit deceiving. You could see, say, 7 tanks remaining on your team and 7 tanks on the enemy's team, but it might be that your tanks only have a couple of hit points each, and that would mean that basically all of them were one-shots. So if you look at the hit point counter, you can actually get an idea of the difference between the two teams. And it looks like, well, we've lost Royal Flying Corps. He was taken out by the enemy M12, the enemy Arty. So Bassman's decided he needs to come to the field to fill in the position that was held by Royal Flying Corps of keeping the enemy at bay from our cap. We do have a Scorpion G on our team. There he is. And he's been stunned, but he hasn't lost much in the way of hit points. I'm not sure how much hit points of damage he's done to the enemy, but we'll have to see at the end of the game how well he performed. I don't think he performed that well. It looks like there's an enemy light tank, an LT-432, somewhere in the vicinity, and the enemy's got a Scorpion as well, which is... I'm not sure if that's the German version or the... Let's have a quick check. No, it's the American version. The 90mm gun on a very light wheeled vehicle. A light tracked vehicle, rather. Well, he's using the good camo qualities of his light tank to take up a position that he can observe the enemy. He doesn't really want to go up on that hill if he can help it, because he would be spotted from many directions whilst he was trying to get up there. It would give him a good view all around, but he would be risking being shot at and taken out. Well, nothing much going on. There's a tussle going on in town, but which we appear to be losing. 4 left on our team, 11 kills. 11 kills? No, what am I saying? 7 left on the enemy team. We've not been spotted, so that's one good thing, I suppose, but it's kind of frustrating. You're sitting here waiting for something to happen, waiting for the enemy to make a push so you can then clobber them. Looking at the enemy team players as well, we can see their Centurion 5-1 managed to get 3 kills, and their Arty's quite good. M12 managed 3 kills, whilst our Arty has only managed to get 1 kill. And there's the LT432. It's coming to view, and unfortunately the enemy's Arty has just taken out our Arty. So we are now down to just 2 players. That's Scorpion G and BassmanFromHell. So he's got a lot of work cut out for him. 6 enemy players to kill. Well, he's going to lock onto that 432, and yes, he's got him. There's the enemy Scorpion. Remember, that's the Tier 7 American version. He's waiting for the reload to go through. It's a 15-second reload, actually. It's a lot quicker than I thought. And that was a round from the Arty. Obviously thought that he was going to keep moving forwards, and he didn't. Change direction. Of course, Spaceman wanted to get that reload in before he attacks the Scorpion. It's got a 90mm gun. Now the armour on the AMX 1357 is paper thin. There he is. There he is. It's been spotted, and we're a lot more manoeuvrable than he is. He's got a fixed forward gun, and 1 in, 2, 3, kill shot. Yes, got it. So that's 2 kills now for Bassman. And the enemy Arty was pretty good. He actually did get a fairly accurate shot there. Stunned us, but he hasn't stopped Bassman from moving. And Bassman's keeping his first aid kit in repair. He's in reserve. He's actually got the large version, which means he can put all the crew back in. And of course he's using coffee, which will greatly improve his rate of fire. And there's the M12, and he's about to die. 1 in, 2. Oh, and he close. Will we be able to get the kill? Yes! Nicely done. 3 kills. And that Scorpion G is still sitting there at our cap, not doing anything. It's now 2 versus 2, and that's all thanks to BassmanFromHell, who must be getting pretty frustrated that that guy is not moving. On the other hand, that Scorpion is to a certain extent holding that Centurion at bay. Here's the other Arty. 1, 2. Oh, did the right thing there. 3, and killed him. Pascucci's middle. He's doing all the work here. Well, now he's going to have to try and return to his cap and spot the enemy Centurion. Now, those Centurions are very good with just standard ammo. They're quite capable of penetrating difficult targets. The question is, where is that Centurion gone? And now that he's the last remaining member of his team, he's probably going to want to go and hide somewhere. Because after all, the Scorpion G and the AMX 1357 are both OP vehicles. Well, we've had the 2-minute warning. I don't expect the Centurion to make an attack on the cap. It'd be very foolish to try and do so, because one shot from the Scorpion G could take him out of the game. But that Scorpion's determined to just hide there in the bushes behind the Rex, and he's making Bassman do all the work. Well, Bassman's elected to play it safe, and that's the right thing to do under these circumstances. Try and approach the enemy, find out where they are, and then find a suitable spot so he can actually do some damage from a distance. If he gets close to the Centurion, well, that gun actually can be quite deadly. Well, there's the minute hooter, so we're on the countdown now, and if he doesn't find the Centurion, it will be a draw. It would be nice if the Scorpion actually did engage in this battle properly and just didn't sit there at the cap. If he actually went out hunting for the Centurion, we might have a chance of winning this, but as it stands now, it doesn't look as if we're going to get any win at all. It's going to end up as a draw. Ah, the Scorpion's finally left the nest. He's got up enough courage. He pulled up his man pants. And now we found the enemy. And he's put around through us, 229. And I did say that gun is quite deadly. And at this range, we're just not getting any penetrations. And the Centurion is easily penetrating us. And there's only 10 seconds left. We've got a damaged engine. We're reloading. And there's no chance of us getting back into this battle to do any more damage. So that's it. It's a draw. All thanks to the Scorpion G, who sat at the cap and did absolutely squat, except stop the enemy from getting there. And here's the end of battle results. Yeah, second class tanker, but he did do quite well actually, Bassman. He did take out 4 enemy vehicles in quick succession. He got a fighter badge, he got a fire for effect, and he got a Pascucci for killing 2 Arty. And his win rate for the game was 6,942, which is no slouch. That is Super Unicum standard. And let's have a look at the team score. Well, there you go, top of the table on his team. The highest damage actually went to the enemy Su-14-2, got 2,373 hit points of damage overall, while Spaceman managed to get 2,133. And the Scorpion G, well, he did actually do some damage to the enemy. He did do 1,642 hit points of damage and got 2 kills. So maybe I was a little hard on him, but if he actually had participated in the battle towards the end, it might have been a win. Because if both of them had been working together, I'm sure they would have been able to take down that Centurion the moment one of them found him. Anyway, as it was a lot. Well, it was a draw, which is not a win. And that means shots fired 38, 33 direct hits, 25 penetrations, damage of 2,133 hit points, all of it at close range. He received 3 hits from that Centurion, 3 penetrations and 2 hits as a result of splash damage from the enemy Arty. He spotted 3 enemy vehicles, damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 4 of them. And on the credit side, he earned 38,063 credits. He got the Courageous Resistance Award because he did get an epic medal in a draw or losing game. He got 1 bond for getting the Pascuccis, and he picked up 2,059 base XP. And that's after the Courageous Resistance as well. So not bad play from Bassman. In fact, very good play considering he spent most of the battle waiting, sitting in the bush, waiting for the enemy to make a move. And then when he did actually get into action, he suddenly got more than enough kills to turn the battle around and put it in their favour. But sadly, that Scorpion did let them down. There you go. Thanks for watching.